Hello everyone, my name is Michael Eggleton and I am here from the Charles Dickens Research School. Today I'm going to give you a very brief introduction to the guidance reports on improving social-emotional learning in primary schools. You can see on the screen at the moment we have the Charles Dickens Research School website address, we have our Twitter handle, and we also have my contact email if you'd like to get in touch. For those of you relatively new to the EEF, the EEF provide guidance reports taken from the best international research available. There are some guidance reports which are very specific, such as preparing for literacy in early years in primary. We have improving literacy in Key Stage 2. We have improving mathematics in Key Stages 2 and 3, and many more. There are also some more general guidance reports, such as the reports on metacognition, improving behaviour in schools, working with parents, and using teaching assistants. The role of the EEF and research schools is to support schools who are applying the evidence which they've read in the guidance reports and using them in their own context. And it's our role to support those schools to do that. You can see on the map that there are many research schools across the country. We are a research school based here in South London. As I mentioned, we are Charles Dickens Research School. Today, I'm going to share with you the Improving Social and Emotional Learning in Primary School report. It's a really useful report. I know myself and many other colleagues have used this report before and helped us to actually introduce a scheme and learning into our own context. And at the end, I'll share with you how we have used this guidance report. You can see at the bottom of this page that the EEF also provide a bit of a toolkit. They talk you through how cost effective introducing something new to your school might be, how solid the evidence is, and what the impact is likely to be. And as you can see from the social emotional guidance report, introducing social emotional learning in your school has moderate impact for a moderate cost, and that's based on quite extensive research. The takeaways from the report are that many schools say they are doing lots of things for social and emotional learning, but when you evaluate what you are currently doing, not that many schools are currently prioritising this work. So the report states you should just start, have a go, and see how you get on. The guidance report starts with 6 main strategies that you can use to help introduce social emotional learning into your school. I'm going to talk you through each stage in a small amount of detail, but then the guidance report does elaborate on each of these points far more. If you would like a copy of the guidance report, you can download it for free on the EEF website, or you can contact your local research school who will be able to give you one of the hard copies if you'd like one. I'm going to start with number 1. This is about teaching social and emotional learning skills explicitly. So the guidance report talks about using a range of strategies to teach skills, both in dedicated time and in everyday teaching. So not reliant on simply doing your social and emotional learning through a PSHE lesson, but it's something that should be embedded throughout your entire school. Teaching self-awareness is important, teaching self-regulation, social awareness, relationship skills, and also responsible decision-making are key aspects of the teaching of social and emotional learning. You should integrate a model and your social emotional learning skills through everyday teaching. So us as teachers should be modelling the expected behaviours that you want to see from the children at all times. You should be praising children when they demonstrate not only brilliant answers in lessons, but also are they showing very solid or excellent social emotional skills in their day-to-day lives. Don't rely on crisis moments to teach. So often teachers talk about something going wrong at playtime and then teaching a lesson because of what has gone wrong. Try and be proactive, try and prevent rather than cure, and this is a far more supportive way for the children. Embed social emotional learning teaching across all subjects where you can. There are often lessons that lend themselves very well to social emotional learning. It might be PE, and it might be the ability to get on with other children throughout competition, or perhaps if children can sometimes appear angry because they haven't won or they haven't been selected for something in a lesson. How can you support the children to ensure that that doesn't happen? Use simple ground rules in your group work and class discussions to enforce social emotional learning. Plan carefully for adopting a social and emotional learning program. So try and use a planned series of lessons to teach the skills in dedicated time. Try to use something that already has an evidence base. So there are lots and lots of schemes out there in England and abroad, many in America. Some have stronger evidence base than others. So it's worth looking into the evidence base and really explore that carefully before adopting something, particularly if it's something that is going to cost you money. Check it is actually right for your context. Use evidence summary from the EEF, and this is a quick way of checking whether a program is going to be successful in your setting or not. Use a safe curriculum, sequential, active, and focused and explicit. So ensure your curriculum builds skills sequentially. So try and have a scheme of work for social and emotional learning. Try and raise the profile of it. Try and balance teacher-led activities along with active forms of learning, just as we would in other lessons such as English and maths. Focus your time, so quality does matter over quantity. So brief, regular instruction appears more effective than infrequent lessons. So if you are going to include social emotional learning as part of your PSHCE lesson, then what you probably wouldn't want to do, according to the EEF, is block those lessons. Just do 3 weeks in the summer term on social emotional learning, then move on to SRE. That isn't quite what the research is telling us at the moment. It's better to do it regular at intervals, short period of time on the lessons. Reinforce social emotional learning skills through whole school ethos and activities. So try and develop a whole school routine for teaching social emotional learning. Is it timetabled? Are there displays outside the classroom that demonstrate that social emotional learning is important? Is there a school charter that focuses on emotions, not just simply on expected behaviour? Does the school's policies, such as anti-bullying, or behaviour policies in general, support what you are teaching through social and emotional learning? So, for example, through social emotional learning, you may talk about restorative justice. If so, is that something that you have currently in your policies for behaviour management? Seek ideas and support from not only the staff and pupils, but also your local community. Find out what is important. There might be something that a member of staff knows about social and emotional learning in the school. For example, the year 3 boys really struggle to regulate their emotions whilst playing football at lunchtime. Knowing that information can really help you plan something proactive to support that group of children. So try and include as many stakeholders as you can. Actively engage the parents when you can, because if parents can reinforce what you are teaching in school at home, then it's going to be far more successful. So try and share those resources and the teaching. We have certainly done that here at Charles Dickens School, and we have found that the parents really enjoy coming and learning about social and emotional learning. It's relatively low threat. It doesn't matter what your skills were like at school yourself. So for example, you might have maybe some parents reluctant to come to a maths workshop because they have anxiety around maths. However, very few parents will have a background knowledge in social and emotional learning. It's in the media, so for them, it's low threat. They'll come along, they're very eager to learn. That was certainly our experience, and other schools who have also engaged in parents have found that also, so it's worth giving it a go. And the last bit, I feel the most important bit, whatever you decide to do, plan it and also monitor it. Evaluate how it's going. Do this at regular intervals. There is implementation guides from the EEF, which you can also use, which are really useful when introducing something new to your school. If you are planning social emotional learning, in your school, try and think about when you are going to monitor, when are you going to evaluate. If you are assessing the impact, what are you assessing? Are you assessing improved behaviour? Are you looking at reduction in CAMS referrals? And how are you going to ensure that that is linked to the learning that you've put in place? So it's something worth prioritising as part of your implementation. As I mentioned, Charles Dickens School have used the EEF research to help build something that really works and is incredibly successful. We use an evidence-based approach called RULER. RULER was created at Yale University about 23 years ago by psychologists. One is a very famous psychologist in the US called Dr. Mark Brackett. RULER is very much about building up emotional vocabulary to support children, then teaching them accurate responses to their emotions. So how to regulate their emotions, how to use restorative justice, and how to have long-term happiness. We use this as our starting blocks because this had a very, very strong evidence base, an evidence base over close to 30 years, because there was a longitudinal study that started well beyond RULER being introduced across the US. Hundreds, if not thousands, of teachers are now using RULER across the USA, and also some other schools outside of the US, including Europe, and of course us here at Charles Dickens. Through having RULER and having that initial step, something that we could teach to all of our children, it allowed us to make a three-tiered approach. So we have our blue first step, which is what we teach all of our children in specific lessons and what is evident throughout the whole school. Then we have our second tier, which is more explicit teaching for those children that need additional support. So we have ELSA. ELSA is emotional literacy support. Many local authorities offer courses on this. This is children learning through stories and through discussion, very much what the EEF research says is important. Lego therapy, learning to get along with other children, again, certainly reinforced by the EEF evidence. There's social skills work there, and there's also adult mentors to support children. This has allowed us to underuse our step 3. So we no longer need to use our educational psychologists in the same amount of detail as we were using them before, because we now have a far more proactive, supportive approach to social emotional learning in our school. It has also allowed us to reduce the number of CAMS referrals, and when we are putting CAMS referrals in now, they are being accepted in a very short space of time, which is hugely successful for us as a school, but also really supportive of our children. We've created a scheme of work which is progression throughout the whole of our school, all the way from reception all the way up to year 6. So we are building on those skills each day as we teach our lessons. Our lessons are very, very short. They are 10 minutes a day. They are built in when our adults have a time to do so. And in order to make sure that the lessons are of a high quality, even though they're only 10 minutes long, we have a language progression list that all of our staff are using and teaching. And we also have workbooks that are taken from the original lessons that we have created here at the school. So we can ensure that not only lessons are being taught, but they are being taught based upon the original evidence. This is something that we have created as a school. So that is my very brief introduction to social emotional learning. Hopefully you have found it useful, and hopefully seeing how we have applied the EEF evidence in our own school has been supportive of what you do as well. If you'd like to find out more, then please do go on to the EEF research the EEF website and download the full report, or please do feel free to contact us here at Charles Dickens Research School, or do use my email address to contact me directly if I can be of any help. I'm going to leave you now with a very short clip taken from one of our social emotional learning lessons. We have created lessons now which are short animations, and we've created these to support our families during this period of lockdown, so that actually they can get the same lessons that would have been taught in school at home. So I hope you enjoy it. And we're going to be focusing on an emotion from our yellow quadrant, and that emotion is feeling cheerful. Now, feeling cheerful is something hopefully we feel quite regularly. I know today when I opened the curtains, I saw a beautiful blue sky. It felt warm with the sun on my face, and that was fantastic. And that really did make me feel cheerful. My son at the moment is cheerful. He's riding up and down in front of me. He's only 2.5, but he's riding up and down in front of me on a scooter. So he's certainly feeling very, very cheerful at the moment. Now, you might think you don't need to regulate an emotion when you're feeling cheerful, and that's correct. It's something that we all aim to feel is cheerful and happy generally. What is worth doing, though, when you are feeling cheerful is to make a note, whether it's a mental note, that means making a note in your head, something that you remember, or whether you write something down. But try and think about what has happened in your life building up to this moment. What is helping you to feel cheerful today? Is it that you've just read a brilliant book? Is it that you've just had a lovely conversation on the telephone with someone? Is it that you've done some exercise? I'm certainly feeling quite pumped and motivated from doing that. So that's something that might have helped you to feel cheerful. So try and keep note of whenever you are feeling a more pleasant emotion. And then one day, when you're not feeling a pleasant emotion, maybe you're feeling a red or a blue emotion from the ruler mood meter quadrants, you can hopefully go and replicate whatever you were doing that helped you to feel cheerful. Have a go, and I look forward to hearing how you got on.